Shalom. All praises, all power, all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, a teacher and Rubo who taught me this truth. Peace and salutation to the Akyam, the fellow laborers, the hopeful elect, pushing this truth and risking their own lives through the four corners of the earth. To the Agwatim, listening, learning, sincerity, and the truth and the sana, Shalom. Akyam meaning brothers, Agwatim meaning sisters, Shalom meaning peace be unto you. This is your brother Shema from the GMS Toronto camp here in Toronto, here with another lesson. Man, we'll get right into it. And this is from the militarytimes.com, March 6, 2025. The hopeful year of our deliverance and the judgment and destruction of Esau. It says here, Air Force aircraft readiness plunges to new low alarming chief. Air Force aircraft readiness plunges to new low alarming chief. Right? And this is the plight. Listen, America the Great is circling the drain. Her infrastructure is suffering. And now we're about to read an article of her military readiness in the Air Force suffering. Right? Before we read it, let's open with a scripture. Let's get Isaiah 14 and 9. It reads, Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. Right? Hell being the grave, hell being the condition. Right? That's the ultimate. Listen, America the Great, Babylon the Great will be destroyed with thermonuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles, in tandem with the laser beams from the chariots. The chariots being what the world ignorantly calls UFOs, ignorantly calls UAPs, right? The ships, the spaceships. It stirreth up the dead for thee, right? The dead, the other nations, they're being roused up, right? The Lord's putting the spirit on them of war. Even all the chief ones of the earth, it hath raised up from their thrones, right? The chief ones of the earth, these other nations, their kings, their politicians, right? Your Putins, your Kim Jong-uns, your Xi Jinpings, right? They're being raised up. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Right? Because the reputation of America the Great as being the listen, she's still the bully on the block. She's still the mightiest military on the planet of the earth, yes. But her reputation is starting to show kinks in her armor, right? Her ability to fight cyber attacks. There's kinks. She's being exposed, right? The southern border has been totally. There's all kinds of sleeper cells in America the Great, Babylon the Great right now, waiting for the green light, right? Isaiah 14 and 10. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Right? Because these nations, these other nations have historically been weak. Right? But they all possess uranium rods, man. China's got uranium. Russia. India. Pakistan. Iran's that's Israel's big propaganda. Major propaganda is we got to stop Iran from developing a bomb. Right? Iran's known as the drone maker of the world. Verse 11, here's the point. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. Right? Your pomp, your arrogance, your pride, your vanity, right, is being brought down to the grave. And the noise of thy vials, right? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vials, vials being musical instruments, right? So that mirth spirit, right? That's being visited. America the Great right now is in a doom and gloom vibration. The citizens are lamenting. Scriptures say, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Proverbs 29:2. Right? People are mourning, man. Because wicked rulers in rulership. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. Right? The worm being decay. Right? Her infrastructure, America the Great, Babylon the Great, her infrastructure is decaying. Her architecture is decaying. Her streets, her subway systems, the people, morality is decaying. Right? Let's read a little bit of this article. It says here, barely more than 6 in 10 aircraft in the Air Force's fleet were able to carry out their missions on an average day in fiscal 2024, according to a Defense News analysis. The fleet-wide mission capable rate of 62% is the lowest in recent memory. It comes as the Air Force's arsenal of more than 5,000 planes is aging, and the service finds it increasingly difficult to keep some in the air. Right, so aging military jets, right? And it's difficult to keep them in flight. Listen, that's a conundrum for a warmonger. And right now, DT-45 Nero, he's in the spirit of war, right? He's shooting from the hip. Today he was talking about Iran. There's sound bites that went out today of him talking about I got something we got something in store for Iran. Roughly paraphrasing, right? America the Great is stretched thin right now, man. She's got multiple things, multiple skirmishes on multiple fronts. The Air Force provided, and look, she's at odds. America's at odds with NATO and the EU. The talk of the town. All the news alerts today is could NATO and the EU survive without America? Right? They got the Hamas thing going on. He's sending ultimatums. Today he's talking about Iran. DT-45 Nero. Right? They got the Doge going to town on their own citizens and jobs. Right? She's stretched thin on all fronts. The Air Force provided statistics on how many of each kind of aircraft it had in 2024, as well as the percentage of time each aircraft was ready to carry out its mission. Those stats were first reported by Air and Space Forces magazine. To come up with a fleet-wide mission capable rate, Defense News calculated a weighted average of all airframes. Using a weighted average places more emphasis on airframes that the service has more of, such as the C-17 Globemaster, F-16 Fighting Falcon, and the F-35A Joint Striker Fighter, and less emphasis on rarer airframes. With the Air Force's fleet at 5,025, the smallest in the service's 78-year history. You see that? The Air Force has a fleet of 5,025, and this is what the militarytimes.com is releasing, right? You know, America the Great, Babylon the Great, they got more warplanes than that, right? And don't let your left hand know what your right's doing, right? A 62% mission capable rate equates to roughly 1,900 planes being out of commission at any given time. That's a lot of planes, man. Right? Art thou become weak as we? Right? America the Great's got a whole lot of issues. It says here, Heather Penny, a former F-16 pilot and senior resident fellow at the Mitchell Institute for Aerospace Studies, said the figures are concerning and suggest the situation is likely getting even worse this year. Readiness is often Salakia. Readiness is often a lagging indicator, Penny said, and those aren't even today's MC rates, which she predicted will be even worse when 2025 is done. Yeah, I think that's it on that, man. You get the point, right? But the military, the aircraft, their plane, their jets are aging, right? And the readiness is plunging, right? I want to go into Nahum 3. Nahum 3. And 12. And it reads, all thy strongholds shall be like fig trees with the first ripe figs. Strongholds being their fortresses, their military bases, right? Also, in a spiritual sense, their sorcery, their witchcraft, right? If they be shaken, they shall even fall into the mouth of the eater, right? And everything when it all of America, the great Babylon's strongholds are going to be destroyed, man. 13th verse. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women, right? And the vibration, the people, they're confused, they're bugged out, they're identifying as this and that. Also, they're military, man. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The gates, right? That's twofold. That's their military bases. Also, their borders, man. Right. Look at the fiasco with the southern border for the past 4 or 5 years. The fire shall devour thy bars. The fire shall devour thy bars. The fire being the missiles, bars being their military strongholds, their bases. Right? Thermonuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles. I want to read this in the NLT. Nahum 3 and 13 NLT. Your troops will be weak. Your troops will be as weak and helpless as women. The gates of your land will be opened wide to the enemy and set on fire and burn. That's fire. Right? Nahum 3 and 14. Draw thee waters for the siege. Fortify thy strongholds. Go into clay and tread the mortar. Make strong the bricklin. Right? And that's going into the money. Right? And this is this is an account of Nineveh. Right? But America the Great, Babylon the Great is spiritual Nineveh, spiritual Egypt, spiritual Sodom, spiritual Assyria. Right? So this is going into the money that the politicians, the government of America dumps into their military readiness, their military forces, space army, navy, right? But none of that's going to help. None of that preparedness, dumping billions of dollars into your military defenses, none of that's going to help. Nahum 3 and 15. There shall the fire devour thee, the missiles. The sword shall cut thee off, the missiles. It shall eat thee up like the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the cankerworm. Make thyself many as the locust. Right, nothing's going to stop this destruction that's coming for America the Great, Babylon the Great. NLT. But the fire will devour you. The sword will cut you down. The enemy will consume you like locusts, devouring everything they see. There will be no escape, even if you multiply like swarming locusts. Verse 16. Thou hast multiplied thy merchants above the stars of heaven, right? America the Great, your traffic, your business. The cankerworm spoileth and flieth away, right? All of that's going to be done away with, right? Verse 17. And it reads, thy crowned are as the locusts, and thy captains as the great grasshoppers, which camp in the hedges in the cold day. But when the sun arises, they flee. But when the sun arises, they flee away, right? Your captains, right? Thy crowned are as the locusts, thy crowned, your leaders, your politicians, your kings, your rulers, and your government, your brass, right? It says here they shall flee. They're going to be hiding in bunkers. And their place is not known where they are. NLT. Your guards and officials are also like swarming locusts that crowd together in the hedges on a cold day, but like locusts that fly away when the sun comes up, all of them will fly away and disappear. Nahum 3 and 18. Thy shepherds slumber, O king of Assyria. Thy nobles shall dwell in the dust. Right, confusion. Thy people is scattered upon the mountains, and no man gathereth them. Right? Great death. Right, scripture saying, Jeremiah 9. Jeremiah 9. Jeremiah 9 and 22. NLT. This is what the Lord Yahweh says. Bodies will be scattered across the fields like clumps of manure, like bundles of grain after the harvest. No one will be left to bury them, right? The scripture say, you shall several men of continual employment, right? Bodies like dung. It says here in the KJV, speak thus saith the Lord Yahweh, even the carcasses of men shall fall as dung upon the open field, and as a handful after the harvestmen, and none shall gather them, right? Matt, listen. Babylon the Great, America the Great will be destroyed by thermonuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? The carnage, the devastation, there will be nobody to gather them, right? Lake of fire, right? But yeah, that's it on that, man. I just wanted to touch on that real quick. So with that, all praises, all power, all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great Muslim who teach one rule well. Shalom to the hopeful elect.